others, having an impact on health of our future generations, all while living our busy lives. If you need to go now, I want to say thank you again. Thanks so much for being on. Reach out to the person who invited you tonight. They're excited that you got on tonight and they want to hear your thoughts and they can guide you to the next steps and answer any questions that you might have. If you can stay on, great. We love to have you. It's going to be an amazing evening with laughter and learning. So 13 years ago, as a busy mom of 5 young children, I said yes to fruits and veggies and berries in a capsule and a franchise just to help offset the cost of my family's product. Now, I had no idea what I was doing or what any of that meant. All I did was take my desire to make a difference in this world. I followed the leader, I followed the system, and trust the process. What I didn't know was that through the process, I would find myself again. I would find the confidence I didn't even know that I was missing. I met people that believed in me before I even believed in me. And through all of that, I became a leader and a builder of leaders, bringing back passion and purpose into the world where it's so easy to get lost in the busyness of our daily lives, right? So today, people need to feel like their voices matter, and we want you to know that you matter. So we're here and we're excited to step into some inspiring stories tonight, showcasing our strength in loving on people and changing lives. So Cheryl.
And thank you so much, Courtney. Beautifully said, and really appreciate you. And as we said, we're going to bring stories to you. And this story that's coming next is from all the way across the world in Australia. I want you to meet Emma Marsh. Emma is a mom of 2 children. I believe it's 2, Emma. Am I right on that? And she's got a great story as well. And she's definitely a mom on a mission. And tell us about it. Emma?
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you so very much for having me on. I'm so sorry. I just all of a sudden just got so nervous and I was like, what am I doing on this call? I can't be with these people. These people are like rock stars. But thank you so very much for having me on. And I'm sorry about my messy kitchen. I'm a mum on a mission, and this is what it looks like when you work from home. Your house is a complete mess. That's what I've just decided. I have been with the Juice Plus business now for, it will be 5 years next month, which is super exciting. I'm getting excited to organize my 5-year party, but it'll be 5 years next month. And to be honest, when I first started in the business, I had a 1-year-old little boy. And I just found out that I was pregnant with my second child. So we were in a situation where I was going to have to go back to work, like with a 12-week-old, I was going to have to go back to work full time, and also with my 1-year-old little boy at home. So that was going to be quite stressful to try and afford to be able to pay for them to go to daycare. And it definitely was not the life that I wanted for my children. So I had family members in the business. My brother and sister-in-law did the business, and they had offered me the business like 4 or 5 times at this point, and I kept saying no. First of all, I said no because I didn't want to post about what was in an apple on social media. I said no because I didn't want to be a part of some illegal pyramid scheme. I said no because I would look at what they were doing, and they were with all these weirdo people like hugging, and like it was like a cult thing that was happening. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, this is weird. So eventually I did a little bit of research and I dug into a lot of the fears and the reasons why I was saying no. And I said yes, I jumped on board. I remember getting to my first promotion in the first 3 days of the business. So I got like $150 bonus, and then I got paid like $150 of commissions in Australian money, which I think is like $1 in American money. I'm not too sure, but I earned a lot of money. Like I earned like $352 in my very first paycheck. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the coolest person in the whole entire world. And so I pretty much thought like, yep, this is it. This is going to be the thing that completely saves us. I'll just go and become a millionaire from this point forward. And then I didn't do anything with my business for about 6 months. So I kept with my 3 customers, and I just didn't do anything. And I remember going a few months into the business, and I remember talking to my upline, like who's my brother-in-law, and I was like, you know, I'm not getting paid any money from Juice Plus. Like Juice Plus is meant to be the thing that saves me when I go on maternity leave. Like, what's going to happen here? And Brian was like, Emma, you're not doing any work. He's like, you need to bring on customers, and you need to start to create a team to actually make an income in the business. And I was like, oh, okay. I was unaware of that. I just thought it was like some lottery thing. Like I just keep getting paid like my $300 without actually having to do any work. Anyway, so I was super angry about that fact. And I was definitely doing a lot of blame, shaming and justifying, you know, like I'm mum, I'm pregnant, I'm working, I'm so busy. Like I can't do this because I was the only woman in the whole entire world that had a job and that was pregnant and had a 1-year-old. I'm pretty positive I've never heard of anyone going through that before. Just me. So I was going through all of this, like, you know, I'm too kind of like, everything's just too much. I can't do it. And Juice Plus is the problem, not me. So fast forward a little bit, I'm now 8 months pregnant. Obviously still have my son. I'm still working for full time, 5 days a week, 9 hours a day. My husband's still working full time. But we had this great plan. I was like, my mum's going to step in, apart from obviously breastfeeding, because that would be weird, but she's going to step in and she's going to babysit and she's going to take over and do everything for me. And so I was like, this would be great. But my mum called me 2 weeks before I was due to give birth, and she told me that she had cancer, which is totally fine now. But at the time she called and said, I've got breast cancer. I'm going to have to go through radiation. I won't be able to step in and like take care of Grace for you, my daughter. And so it was the first time in our lives that me and my husband were like, oh my gosh, like, what are we actually going to do? Like, we can't rely on anybody else now. It's just us. Like, we were like in our 30s and we had to grow up for the first time, which was a really scary thought for us. Anyway, so I remember like driving to the airport and I was with my parents. I was in the car and I was taking my mum. She was going on a cruise just before her treatment started. And my parents are in the car and they're saying to me like, Emma, what are you doing with your life? Like, what are you going to do? Da, 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 da. And I was like, I don't know, like I've got that Juice Plus thing, like that's fruits and vegetables in a capsule or something. And I really like them, but I have no idea how to do that business. And I'm like, and it doesn't work anyway. And so I'm blame shaming and justifying my whole entire life and my whole entire existence of absolutely everything. And I dropped my parents off at the airport and I pull over on the side of the road and I'm crying. You know, when you're emotional and you're crying, you don't have to deal with it. So like, you just go onto like Instagram to like numb your feelings because you're like, I'll just go on social media or watch Netflix or something and that'll take away all the pain. So that's what I was doing. I was on the Facebook and I was like, oh, I don't feel so bad anymore. Anyway, and then I came across this live that Kira, who I believe is talking next, and she's amazing. Kira was doing a live into Team YOLO of all places. And I clicked onto Kira's live and I was literally like, oh, what is Kira banging on about today? Because Kira would always say this thing, like she'd be like, I just made a decision and then I was successful. And I would be like, Kira, I've made the bloody decision and I'm still not a millionaire. I don't understand. And I would get so frustrated with Kira. I just made the decision and then I was successful. But there was one small difference between me and Kira. Kira made the decision and went and worked her ass off. I made the decision and I like went on Instagram. So I was like, I wasn't actually doing anything, but I kept saying, I'm going to do all these things and be all these things. Anyway, so I'm listening to Kira's live and she spoke about the 3 different beliefs, which I'm sure we've all heard about them before, which is belief in yourself, belief in the product, and belief in the business. I'd already cleared up all my belief in the business problems when I first started. I definitely believed in the product because I remember not taking what was it? I remember not taking Juice Plus once and I was like, I feel like I'm going to actually die. What's happened? Like this baby's eating my organs or something. I'm dying. And Cameron's like, no, you haven't taken Juice Plus for a few days. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. That product must really work. Anyway, so belief in the product was completely fine, but it was the belief that I had in myself that was completely lacking. So I didn't actually believe that I could do it. I was like, why would anyone buy Juice Plus off me? Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a health coach. Like, I'm just like a mum, like, you know, and I was like really big at this stage. And like, I'm definitely not a before and after photo, never have been. Hope that I one day will be. But anyway, I was like, who's going to want to do this with me? So then I had to do some inner work and I had to kind of figure out, but what are people wanting? And then that's when I kind of got to this realization that the moment that I just started to be who I was and just talk about Juice Plus for what it was for me, it was so not easy. It definitely wasn't easy, but people started to like buy Juice Plus from me and then they wanted to like be a part of my team. It was like the coolest thing ever because I changed the way that I was doing it. It was like, instead of being like, I'm just trying to think, sorry, I went off track for 1 second. But instead of like talking about Juice Plus in the way that we're, you know, like scripted ways, I started to talk about Juice Plus in the way that what it did for me and like how I was feeling. So like I'd take a photo of like me and the kids. So by this stage I had like the newborn baby and I had the 1-year-old and I cried every single day for 6 weeks and I drank bottles of wine and then tried to pump and then tried to get rid of the wine, breast milk, and then tried to oh my gosh, it was a disaster. faster. But anyway, I got through it. They're like 4 and 5 now, and they're beautiful. But back then, oh my God. Anyway, so I'd take like photos of me like walking with like 45 minutes sleep in like a 24-hour period, and I'd look horrible. Like I'd look like crap, and I'd put it on Facebook, and I'd be like, does anybody else feel like crap, look like crap, but still eating fruits and vegetables from a capsule every single day? And then these mums would be like, yes, I look like crap, I feel like crap, and I want a fruit and vegetable in a capsule. So the moment that I took away all the pressure of like, I need to try and be something that I'm not, or I need to try and be this perfect image, or I need to have, you know, all of this information. Like, I'm not kidding. I just learned more about Juice Plus in those 7 minutes listening to Valerie talk than I have in like 5 years. I'm just obsessed with you guys and what you talk about over in America. But the moment that I let it all go, and I was like, I can just be myself and I can just talk about it. I don't know how it's made or produced or whatever. I'm like, but it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Who doesn't know about fruits and vegetables? Anyway, so that's when I started to grow my business more, when I let go of the blame, the shame, and the justifying. I stopped blaming the company for not paying me enough for the work that I wasn't doing. I stopped justifying that, you know, I was so busy with the kids and work or whatever else. And oh, and then my good story. I'll go back. I'm sorry, I digress. I was going somewhere and I've skipped to something else, but I wanted to tell you my story because I know that I'm running out of time. But so I didn't earn any money for like the first 6 months, but then I went on maternity leave and I had my little baby girl Gracie, which was beautiful. And then I was able to stay off work for 5 months because of Juice Plus. So I was meant to go back to work when she was 3 months old, and I got to stay off work till she was 5 months old. And anyone that has a baby knows that 2 extra months with the baby is like 20 years in adult world. So it was like unbelievable and amazing. So I'm always forever and grateful for it. And instead of having to go back to work full time in the like my second year in the business, I only had to go back to work 3 days a week, and then I could cut it down to 2 days a week, and then I could cut it down to 1.5 days a week, which has been super exciting. So yes, it didn't happen overnight, but it definitely has happened over time where I've been able to cut the work down. So I've been able to spend more time obviously with the kids and not cleaning my kitchen, as you can tell. Anyway, I totally went off topic there, but my points of my talk were that just be yourself, just be who you are, because if you just be who you are, then people really believe you and people really want to buy that from you. And don't ever compare yourself to somebody else and try and be something that you're not, because it definitely shines through when you're doing that. And my other talk is that it doesn't happen overnight, but bit by bit by bit by bit, if you just put one foot in front of the other, then it definitely does happen. And then I think that's me, Cheryl. I don't know how many minutes I had. I thought I only had 10. I think I spoke for 11, so I hope that that's okay.
Thank you so much, Emma, and you're a rock star. Okay, so
thank you.
we're so proud to have you with us tonight. Thank you so much for your input. And all the way from Australia, as I said, the great thing about virtual today is we can be all over the world in just a few minutes. So how nice is that? So we're going to go now to the other side of the world, and we're going to speak to Angie Hawes. And Angie is also a mom. She's a wife and mom of 2 kids. She lives in Pennsylvania, and she's going to talk about the Tower Garden tonight. And again, this product certainly is a great representation of who we are and what we stand for as a company and as people. And as Dr. Valerie mentioned tonight, you know, food just doesn't have the nutritional punch that it did at one time. So you can get that back with the Tower Garden. So Angie, to you.
Thank you, Cheryl. And Emma, just so you know, my kitchen's a mess in the other room as well. So I am so honored and excited to be a part of this incredible evening. Yes, my name is Angie Hawes, and I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with my husband and 2 kids and a dog. Before I became a mom, I was a professional Broadway performer. And if you looked at pictures of me in my 20s and 30s, then you would have probably thought I was healthy. After all, my profession demanded a lot from my body, especially with having only 1 day off a week. Well, you'd be wrong. What you couldn't see, and what I only discovered later, after having children when I didn't have the downtime for just myself, was that my body was suffering from debilitating inflammation. So I had no appreciation for the connection of the power that food had on my body every day until I was introduced to Juice Plus. And it made sense, and I knew that something had to change. So clearly, I always share the capsules because it has truly shifted my family's health and has helped in creating better habits like wanting to grow our own produce. When I first learned about the Tower Garden, it was the answer to all my gardening prayers. The fact that anyone could do it with snow and ice on the ground outside, right? Yes, year-round gardening, self-watering, pesticide-free, and no backache for fresh produce. I was like, sign this busy mom up. So I signed up for the business and the product at the same time. I fell in love with everything about the company and community. And in just a few months later, I found myself in Phoenix at my very first conference, taking a selfie with the founder of the Green Bronx Machine, Stephen Ritz. I had no idea that there was so much more. So have any of you read The Power of the Plant by Stephen Ritz? I brought my book out. So let us know in the comments, give him some hearts if you're on Facebook, right? So I immediately read his story and how he started teaching inner city kids about growing sustainable food and the amazing transformation that the children were having, not just in the classroom, but in life. And I thought to myself, all children need this opportunity, right? It had sparked the idea, how many schools can we get these into? Can I be a catalyst to help make this happen? Me? So are you getting fired up about sharing with schools? Maybe you've already shared. Let me know. If you would have told me 4 years ago that I'd be sharing the Tower Gardens with schools, I would have thought you were crazy, but here I am, and this is how it happened. I was sharing my love of the Tower Garden all over social media. So I had created curiosity within my community with my personal Tower Garden posts. I had also had a booth at our local Maymart event, which is kind of like a garden club fair, street fair. So I was making my presence known. Do you want to know what the secret to sharing the Tower Garden is? Get a Tower Garden yourself. If you don't have one, then get one, because sharing with schools is not usually a quick process, but it's a lot of fun. I started in my own backyard first when I approached my children's elementary school. With that in mind, my recommendation is to start with these 3 simple steps. 1, pique curiosity and get others interested. 2, don't go it alone. Find another parent or teacher to go in with you when presenting to the school, because if you can get a few people together, the energy and the excitement for it becomes very contagious. 3, know the process. Once they love the idea, get familiar with what the next steps are going to be. So I'll just break it down a little bit. 1, how are you going to pique curiosity? Have people see your tower. Share the produce, like give away your abundance. There's always so much on my garden. Post pictures without telling people what it is. 2, talk to other parents or community members to get others involved. For example, talking to someone in charge, maybe of the science department. When I shared the Tower Garden with Greenwich High School in Connecticut, they were actually able to keep a science teacher on because of the excitement that the teacher had of utilizing the Tower Garden with the curriculum. So the idea behind this is that you create a community or empower a teacher to take on the project of the Tower Garden. Our job is to inspire healthy living, so let's inspire them to inspire the kids. I was fortunate to have the principal on board for the idea of adding the Tower Gardens right of way. I did bring an enthusiastic parent with me to the meeting. Our school has an outdoor garden, but most of the growing season here in Pittsburgh happens when the students aren't in school, and it just made sense. All right, number 3, getting familiar with the next steps. They love it, right? So now it comes down to the money. Who's going to pay for it? And that's where the grants come in. So some schools have garden club funds, but I found that most schools utilize money from a grant of some kind. Every school and state is different, but most faculty are aware of some that are available in their area. You may hear my dog wandering around right now. So that sounds easy, right? No big deal. So how do you find out about grants? Well, that was my first question too. So Google became my best friend. like I said, each state offers special grants, as well as larger companies like Annie's Organic or Whole Foods. You can check out, you might want to write this down, kidsgardening.org, and I'll put it in the comments below after I'm done here. And they have a whole list of grant opportunities, which I found very helpful. In our virtual office, there is a school order form, which also provides us with a checklist of things that we need to place the order. So something that I recommend adding to the already oh so helpful checklist is to reach out to Tower Garden Support for a W-9 so that you can have it for the school to add our company as a vendor, which you will most likely need to purchase so that a purchase order can be created. Just so you know, our company also has amazing free video resources and more available on the Tower with the purchase of a Tower Garden, including the curriculum for teachers. So the end result for me so far is that I've managed to bring Tower Gardens into schools in 3 states now, and I'm definitely just getting started. This is teaching and inspiring children to learn while growing. And I want to encourage you all to have fun growing and get these towers in schools.
Thank you so much, Angie, and so beautifully said. And so you're a Tower Garden rock star, it sounds like. Definitely, you know it well. And again, even though we have a very focused product line, look at the various avenues that people can take with this. And so, again, congratulations on all of your efforts with Tower Garden.
Thank you.
The 3 stories you've heard tonight, certainly Courtney, Emma, and Angie, all just, you can hear that passion for what they do, what they were attracted to, what really turned out to be blessings in their lives, as well as the foundation of their health for themselves and their families. And of course, as they've mentioned, there's certainly a business that goes along with this that's very empowering as well. And sharing it with others can not only bring great financial revenue, but great emotional revenue as well. And that's exciting. It's great, as Courtney said, to be able to participate in a community that's like-minded, where people are really there to help and support each other in everything that they do, within our company. So that's been exciting. So myself and now Cynthia Gompers will take about 2 minutes, and we're going to just remind you, if you are within our business, if you are a partner with our company, to really make sure that you're looking at and knowing that pay plan. If we look at our pay plan today, if I think about 33 years with the Juice Plus Company, and Cindy, it's been over 30 for you. I think 31, okay. You might note, and you heard Courtney say 13, people come and they stay. They love what they do. They really get great reward from both the product and the business. And in the 33 years that I've been here, our plan has never been more simplistic or easier to share or explain or understand. The manner in which we're paid. We talk about just the last few months, this last year, really, looking at the year of the evolution of what we would call our relaxed pay plan, okay? Because what they've done is, I guess you would say, relax the little rules that have always been in place to streamline it. So we really encourage you to make sure that if you're brand new, you want to speak to the person who invited you to go over that with you. But if you're a partner, really make sure that you look back and maybe with your own team and really go over the logistics of the simplicity of our plan today. And Cindy, I know, is very organized. She's one of those people that likes to have everything in place, okay? And one of the things that really has supported this pay plan very well is the worksheets that go along with the various positions and growth into those positions. So maybe you'll just share, Cindy, for a few minutes, or a minute or two, whatever we have, what you've done as far as the pay plan is concerned, and laying it out so that it's at your fingertips at all times. Well, it's fascinating, Cheryl, because having been in the business for 31 years, and when you and I started, there was no technology. So I think I've mastered in kindergarten 101, whereby I always had business in a binder. I mean, I could take it with me. It was my security blanket, and we like to travel. So I would always take my binder with me, and I felt secure. But now with technology, I mean, we can do our entire business right from our cell phone. And I pinch myself every day that we can actually acquire customers and invite people to partner with us right from our cell phone. But with that being said, I need to have something where I can just have it on my desk. So I have one on my desk, and then I have one all ready to go wherever I travel, fits right into my bag. And this one is just purely focused on our compensation plan and taking people, guiding people, mentoring people one step at a time. I always like to say, okay, you've arrived, we're going to celebrate, and now it's the next step. It's always next step thinking. So on the cover of this binder are the stair steps. You can find all of this. I've duplicated with my to my sponsor. Okay, I love that. We all have our strengths that we bring to the table. We all learn from each other. And so I'm just going to share this. This is just has to do with the business and the numbers and the guiding people from one step to another. How many of you are searching, always searching your desk or the pile? I mean, I do have some piles here. I wouldn't be, in fact, Cheryl, I think we both say that if the piles were all cleaned up, I don't think we'd ever find it.
We wouldn't be working.
We wouldn't be working, especially end of the month. But I'm always, before I was scrambling to see, okay, what was the PV on this item? What was the PV on the Omegas? It's right on the back of the binder. So I just slip it in the plastic sleeve, and there are the price and earnings guide. So this just, I can just flip it over, and there it is. Real quickly, open it up. Actually, I have the first thing in the binder is tonight's, I have usually the events. So the next event, I go one event to another. So this is tonight's event. And then it's right from the Freedom Revolution. I think this part is the Bible, so to speak. And it's explore the possibilities. So all on one form, it's taking a partner to Partner Plus, from Partner Plus to QSC, from QSC to Sales Coordinator, all on one form. I love this sheet. That's my little Bible. But then the next form is just the worksheet. And I'll have a number of copies in here because when I'm working with a partner, I will slip a sheet out and I'll write down and have them write down what they feel they need to go the next step, what they have, what they need. And it goes right through from QSC to Sales Coordinator. And then I have a tab, and the next tab is taking people through leadership. And so right now I'm working with probably about 20 people, taking them from that I'm personally working with, taking them from Sales Coordinator to QSSC. And then probably about 8 I'm taking personally from QSSC to Senior Sales Coordinator. But I talked to someone today that is all ready to go into Senior Sales Coordinator, but I'm grooming them already for QNMD. I'm grooming their width, their qualified width of sales coordinators. So I'm using these sheets. Sometimes I'm working them two leadership levels ahead, and just in structure, growing that width. And it goes right through to Presidential Marketing Director Plus. And then in the very back, I have just the conclusion of the last month's PV report, because I like to have that conclusion because I know how people ended, so I know what their next step is. And I do a lot of highlighting. I have different colored pens that will mark these people, and that's it. Simple.
And I'll add a couple of things too that, and Cindy and I both agree on this, I'm sure.
you want to, and she just mentioned it, you want to print off your PVC report at the end of every month before it falls off of your desktop, before it falls off of your computer, because you can't go back and retrieve that further than a month behind. So really it only stays up for about 20 days, the one from the month before. You want to print it off. I keep a log of it. And also you would want to go back and at the end of every month, and you have to do it right at the end of the month, is print off how many new recruits you have. Because then as you look at analyzing your business over the years, you can even get, or over the year, over the months, you can get people certainly at the home office. Mike Clifton is happy to help us do this from time to time. You would need those PVC reports. I track my business looking at those, looking back to where a person was last month or 2 months or 3 months back. And you can see your business if it's growing, if there's places where it needs support or help. If your recruits are up, your business is up, you want to keep that as well. Someone asked where you would find these forms. I saw that in the chat.
Freedom Revolution.
You would go to the Freedom Revolution. And then when you get to Freedom Revolution, go up in the top tab. It's going to say compensation plan. You click on the compensation plan. If you're in the US, US. If you're in another country, that country. And then it's going to give you every form and you can print those off. I also go down at the very bottom of phase 2 in the Freedom Revolution and print off all the worksheets. And there'll be a worksheet that goes along with every one of the explanations in the forms of how a person goes from one position to the next. So with a brand new person, I'm going to use that Partner Plus worksheet and that QSC worksheet right away. It becomes the business plan for what we're going to do as quickly as possible. Sales coordinator is always the very first goal because it's the highest commission position.
That is definitely
We
the
all
strategy.
get paid in the same, I mean, we all do the same job. So, which is tell the product story, tell the business story, and then put together customers and team development. And of course, our philosophy as an organization is to wrap our arms around as many people as possible to encourage them to be partners and team members. And then of course, we reach the consumer in that way. So with you, doing these things, it really does organize and help you to help that new person get off to a fast start. Sales coordinator being the first goal with Partner Plus and QSC, the steps along the way, because sales coordinator is your highest commission return. And as I said, if we're going to do this and do the same thing every one of us, then you might as well be paid at the highest level. So thank you, Cindy, so much for your input. And hopefully those tips will be good for everyone this evening. It certainly is the foundation of how I work on a daily basis. And many of us that have been here for a really long time, it does definitely set up for duplication because those materials are right at your fingertips on the Freedom Revolution.
And if people have team in other countries, I have in here the Irish and the UK and the Danish and other compensation plans. So it's right there, everything on the business side as far as the compensation plan is right here at the fingertips. So it's business on the go. It's business in a binder. And one thing that I learned from Pam Shepley, who's a national marketing director, Presidential Plus national marketing director on my team. And when she was a kindergarten teacher, she said she had her binder with her at all times. So she would do the business in pockets of time. I love that because she would never waste a minute. If she had a lunch break or she had some freedom time or she was waiting for kids to come home from school, there she made use of that time. It was right there in her car.
So it's great to, however you feel you need to organize yourself. This works well for me. Obviously, it's been something for Cindy and others. Technology has brought us a lot of great things, and we certainly appreciate that, and we can move faster and simpler and easier through the world because of it. But for me, it's nice to have that tangible right there, ready to go. And then if it's something that I'm doing on computer where I am you know, speaking to a person across the world that I'm not going to see in person, and it could be across town this day and age or in the next state, then they can go to their computer and print those things off if they choose or know where to find them. But it's nice to be able to pick it up, look at it, and know where it is if that fits you. So now we're going to go to our big event of the evening, and it's to hear our featured speaker this evening. And she's going to hail to us from Australia as well. And so I'm going to turn this over to Lauren Wahab, who is the upline sponsor, and have her introduce Kira to you all tonight. Lauren?
Well, thank you, Cheryl. And I'm her grandma. I guess I would say that I'm Kira's great grandma, and you're the great great grandma.
Yeah, this grandma thing.
We're doing the whole grandma thing here. So I'm very, very honored and excited. I'm going to leave you up there. I'm trying to do our little technology. While I add Kira, I would love to know some things that you guys have loved about today. I know that I have loved a lot about, Emma, come on. How did she just call it as it was? I think that that's such a beautiful thing. It's so refreshing for us to go, oh my gosh, somebody's feeling the same way that I am. And I know that Kira works with Emma a lot, and just they've created a beautiful movement. So I'm Kira's great great grandmother or something like that. And it is an honor to, I think it was 6 years ago, Kira, that we met in Hamilton Island. And Kira Love is a health and fitness professional. She's an author. She's a women's empowerment coach. She's a PMD plus and has other PMD pluses on her team. Her greatest passions, if you follow her on social media, it's so cool to watch just how much fun she has raising her daughters to be strong, confident, and healthy young ladies. She loves helping families build healthy food cultures in their home. I try to do some of those pretty things she does on Facebook, but they never, ever turn out the way that she makes them work. But what I love the most about Kira is she embraces it all, with elegance and grace, and just helping everybody understand their self-worth, but most importantly, to help people become financially independent. And it's an amazing woman, and you're going to hear from her what she did. The other thing before I bring Kira on is I hope you guys, and ladies, gentlemen, everybody that's on the line, the outcome for tonight's call was really to let know that we get you. We know where you're at, right? We've all been there in some way. We've had challenges, we felt like, oh my gosh, am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? But I think the most important thing is just to be coachable. And what I love about Kira as well is that she was hungry, passionate, but more than anything, coachable. And I remember when we were in Melbourne just a couple of years ago, Kira, and just the width of your business and how you not just embrace the breadth of your business, but the depth of your business as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to you to do your magic.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be on today. And today I thought what I would chat about is how to take you from where you hope to be in this business, but what you currently feel like you can achieve. Because for a lot of you, there's a big gap there. You really want to be successful in this space, and you hope to be, but your belief perhaps isn't matching that level of desire. And I think today is a great example of a call where it can be really easy to go into comparison mode, because we started out with a badass doctor who just knows her stuff. And then, you've got Emma, who's just so relatable to every single one of us. And the truth is they both have the same potential of success in this business.
Interrupt you, but there's a bad echo and we're getting lots of feedback from you.
Oh, let me check. Is that better?
Much better, thank you.
Okay, all right, my mic must be playing up. Sorry, guys. And so what I love is there is such a broad range of people in this space creating success, and success really is whatever version success means to you. And so if you can either look at people who are being successful in this business as inspiration and validation and proof that you can do this too. Or you can use it as the opposite. You can look for evidence to say, oh, they're different to me and I'm not able to do this because of A, B, and C. And really you get to create a story around that. And for me, I choose to ask myself quality questions, and I choose to look for empowering stories that really serve me to create success in this space. So that is my wish for you today. And I just want to share a bit about my story and the things that helped me go from so disempowered and so not believing in myself to creating success beyond my wildest dreams, and how I really bridged that gap. I think that the difference between failure and success in this business, I really truly believe that the only way not to succeed is to give up on yourself. You absolutely can achieve success in this business, but it is a choice. It's making a decision to show up for yourself every single day. And the only thing that is holding you back from success are the stories that you've made up about yourself of why you can't do this. And I had all of the stories when I came in. I had the story that I was just a mom, I'm shy, I'm introverted. I never had an identity of a businesswoman. My entire life, there was nothing about myself that I identified as a businesswoman. So how did I become one in this space? I created her. I literally made a decision and I went to work every single day building a new story, building a new identity to lean into. I stopped leaning into all of my excuses of why I couldn't do this. I'm too shy, I'm introverted. And I started leaning into my fears. I started leaning into getting outside my comfort zone. I started saying yes to the things that I knew would build that confidence and that new identity. So many of you come into this space and you're wishing and hoping. And I know that we've been taught that hope is a powerful thing. Hope is actually incredibly flimsy. Decision is powerful, right? Powerlessness repels money and success. Power attracts it. The more you wish and hope, I can already predict for you where you will be a year from now and 5 years from now and 10 years from now. Faith is different to hope. Decision and faith is how you build success. So you want to have that powerful foundation and stop sitting around and just wishing and hoping that something will land in your lap. So belief is just a muscle, right? And for me, when I came into this business, I'd been a stay-at-home mum for 8 years. I must have been maybe 32 when I came into this space, 33. And I just had such low self-worth and such low confidence because I never did anything outside my comfort zone. I was so shy that I could barely talk to my friends. I'd go out for dinner and I could say not a word at the table the entire night and go home exhausted because I felt like I was screaming on the inside, but I wasn't actually like dancing with life. I wasn't participating. And so my belief muscle in myself was so inactive. And so there's, when you go to the gym and you build your muscle a little bit every day, it gets stronger and stronger. Your body gets used to that pattern of movement. It's the same with your thoughts. If you're not building your belief muscle by taking action is the only way to build belief, right? It doesn't sit there. You can't just sit there and meditate on it. You've actually got to take action and show yourself what you're capable of. Otherwise, that muscle atrophies, right? It gets smaller, it gets inactive, it gets weak. So it's not until you actually start taking steps and putting action in place that you will start to grow that confidence in yourself. And the more that you promise yourself that you will, but then you don't show up, your confidence will actually go down, and that will compound over time. I think one of the bad habits that humans have, and especially women, especially mothers, because we're such martyrs, which is really a selfish thing when you really investigate that further. But we think, I'm going to sacrifice myself for everybody else's needs, and that makes us feel good about ourselves. But really the opposite is true. Putting yourself first and building yourself up and your confidence serves everyone around you so much more. Making that commitment, getting to the gym every day with your mindset, getting into action, taking those steps, that's how you build that self-confidence. And I know that getting outside your comfort zone is scary, but you know what is scarier? Not growing. standing still is so much more painful, because you're already in pain standing still, right? But at least when you lean into your fears and you grow as a person, and then your business starts growing, because your business growth is a reflection of your self-growth, there's excitement, there's reward in that. There's such a sense of achievement. You'll become addicted. I'm addicted to chasing my fears now, because the reward is so worthwhile. And standing still, there's nothing that pains me more than that. So if you're in pain already, take the step towards the fear, because there's reward on the other side, right? There was nothing that caused me more pain than thinking that, oh my gosh, if I don't say yes to this, if I don't actually start fulfilling my word to myself, which I'd never done, I always used to set goals and then never show up, and let me know if you can relate. I felt such a sense of terror that my life would look the same in 10 years' time, that nothing would have shifted, because I knew that it would be actually worse. Because if you're not growing, you're sliding backwards. I wouldn't have been the same. I actually would have slid backwards. And I don't know if you can think of someone in your life who's perhaps, you know, more mature than you or older than you, more years on you, and they're so inflexible, they're so stuck in their ways, they're so limited in their thinking, so limited in their belief. I know some people like that in my life, and they are the fuel and motivation to keep growing, because I don't want to be like that. That terrifies me, to be that person in 10 years. So, you know, you've got to make that commitment to yourself and start showing up to your promise to yourself before anyone else, right? Stop like this self-sacrifice stuff, because it's actually really selfish. What you tell yourself is what you become. And you've got to be before you become. You've got to start showing up as the businesswoman. I would ask myself, what would a boss babe do? I've made a decision. Emma jokes about how I made a decision and then I was successful. She missed out a big chunk of my story. I made a decision and then I did the hard stuff, and I did a lot of the hard stuff, and I grew a lot, and I cried a lot, and I built the muscle. I went to the gym. I kept lifting the weights, and it was freaking hard. But man, it was worth it. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life, right? And I just started showing up as a boss babe. Every time Linda, my upline, would say, you know, we need you to do this, or we want you to do this, or, you know, we want you to speak on stage, I still do not identify as a speaker. Like, for me, I love one-to-one impact. I'm still an introvert. I have developed the skills of being extrovert when I need to. I've developed the skills of speaking. Do you know how I developed the skills of speaking? By speaking. By saying yes, even though I wanted to say no, right? It's like you're an apprentice in this space. If you became a hairdresser today, right, you'd probably suck. I probably would not pay you to cut my hair today, right? You know you're going to suck. You're going to mess up some people's hair. You're going to have to grow through that. You're going to have to learn lots of skills. It's the same as this business, right? Know that you're going to suck, and then you won't be disappointed when you do, right? But you get better and better. My first conversations really sucked, but now I'm really confident at them because I've honed those skills over 7 years. I'm no longer an apprentice. I'm a master at it now because I've done it more than 10,000 times, right? So, like, you know, you've got to have that, that we call it, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but in Australia we call it the inner bitch, right? Who's always going to be there telling you you can't, telling you all these neg ferret stories that are completely based on BS, right? But deep down beneath that, your inner knowing, you're listening to that voice. You're not that voice, right? And so you can tell her to pipe down, right? You actually have that capability. You can make that decision. You can go and take a few deep breaths and get in touch with your heart and get connected and know that that isn't your truth. Your truth is unlimited potential. And the people that you see on this call tonight, anything you see in them is possible for you. Choose to use it as validation and evidence that you can only see it because it is possible for you. But the difference is they made a decision, then they got off their butts and they actually started doing the work, right? And so you will face challenge in this business, and your business only will grow as you grow. And what I love about our compensation plan is it's a step-by-step process, and you get to grow one step at a time. You don't need the mindset of an NMD on day one. I did not have the mindset. I did not have the leadership skills, but what I did have was the ability to say yes to that next step. And I would just focus all of my intent and my, like, success is an easy sum. It's intention plus effort plus grace equals success. Set your intention, right? If you're new to this business, set all of your intention on Partner Plus. Make the commitment, solid commitment to yourself that no matter what, you're going to make it happen. You don't know how, but you promise yourself that you're going to learn the skills. If you face challenge, if you have face down moments, you'll ask yourself quality questions. It's not a reflection of you being incapable. It's a reflection of, I need to learn something here to achieve it, right? And so you go to work on learning what you need to do, and you just stay focused on that step, and you drown out all the other noise. And then when you hit that step, there's a sense of reward and achievement, and that becomes addictive in this process, right? As long as you stay focused on the end game in terms of that you're here for the long term and that you will figure it out even though you don't have all the answers yet. I've had all of the challenges. I've had all of the face down moments, right? The only reason why this is worth doing is because there is challenge. Challenge is where the growth is, and your growth as a person in this space is more valuable than your check. And my check is pretty amazing. But what I would never give back is who I've become along the way. And if everybody was doing this, there wouldn't be an opportunity. The gift is that not everyone is here doing it, right? This isn't supposed to be for everyone. But those who choose to create success have the most incredible opportunity to grow, to create freedom, and to create just the most incredible confidence. And then we get to pass that gift on to as many people as possible. So drown out the noise and just focus on one step at a time, but make the all-in commitment that every cell of your being is committed, no matter how long it takes, no matter how much help you need, no matter what you need to learn, right? Don't give up on yourself so easy. Don't let yourself off the hook. I think like there's this movement in Australia right now, and it's like hustle's bad, and it's this fluffy thing, and I'm all about fluff and self-love. I light candles, I meditate, I do the fluff, right? You know what real self-love is stop BSing yourself. Hold yourself accountable to a higher standard. You are capable of more. I'm capable of more. There are days where I know damn straight that I did not bring my best, right? We are all capable of more, and we get to set the standard of how we're going to show up. So stop letting yourself off the hook, and you will grow self-worth and self-love when you start showing up in a way that you know is expressing your potential. Joy is what you feel when you're moving towards your potential. Stress, anxiety, pain, lack of self-worth is what you feel when you're standing still. And you are making the decision whether you're standing still or moving forward. Don't do the victim state, and I'm very loving, but I'm definitely like hard ass tough love when people need it too. If you're not feeling good about yourself, it's because you're choosing rituals that don't serve you. You're choosing to watch TV and numb out instead of meditation. You're choosing to, look at your phone in the morning instead of read a mission statement, which calls you to a higher standard every day, that reminds you of what you're capable of, that reminds you of your vision to where you want to go, right? You get to make choices every day that set you up either for success or for standing still in life. So number one, success, you have to have a hunger inside of you that you want to change your life. I don't know about you, but where I was when I started in this business, although I was happy and grateful for what I had, I knew I wouldn't be happy if my life looked the same in 10 years. I had this survival mode instinct that made me kick myself, into gear because I was scared. So I was using fear and pain to pull me towards my vision in this business. And it's not who you think you are today that is stopping you from success. It's who you think you are not. And I promise you, you have created your identity. Every belief you have about yourself is a figment of your imagination. So you may as well start creating some better bloody stories, right? Because the ones you have are not serving you. So start creating some that do, because you have every quality within inside you, and you choose which ones you cultivate. There was a period of my life where I was very reactive, very highly strung, very inflexible, very anxious. It wasn't serving me, and it was effing painful for me, let alone my kids and my partner at the time. And so I chose to go to work to cultivate a new belief system of who my identity was. I chose to cultivate more grace and more love and more flexibility in my spirit and who I was. And that has served me so much in my business as well. So stop telling yourself a story about who you think you're not, and start focusing on the things who you are and who you're going to become. And don't sacrifice your future for who you think you are today, right? And stop, and even like the whole overwhelm thing. Overwhelm is another way that you self-sacrifice, self-sabotage yourself. This business, does it push you and stretch you? Yes. Do we have many balls in the air as women often, including this business being one of those balls? Maybe motherhood, friend, wife, maybe you have another business. Yes. But it's your business. You get to do it as you do life. You get to choose when you do it. So there isn't, overwhelm is just, again, a belief that you're leaning into, right? And I chose to stop leaning into a BS excuse of I'm overwhelmed, right? And I started setting my life up for success, and I started living by a schedule that worked for me. I started creating boundaries for my own self as well as for my business, for my kids. Like I started, getting time managed for the first time in my life. There's always a quality answer. There's always a quality way to move forward. You've just got to ask yourself the right questions and stop leaning in to your BS excuses that help you play small, which ultimately just keeps you feeling safe, right? It's serving you to stay in your comfort zone on some level, and usually it's about safety. But nothing grows in safety, right? You have to take that leap in order to grow. So fear is real, and at some point you have to decide that you're more committed to your future than you are to these BS stories that you're telling yourself, okay? Because what you think about consistently becomes your reality. It's what you're going to create. And whether you believe in universal laws and vibration, or just repetition, and more the physical world, it doesn't matter what you believe in. It's just the reality is what you've got on repeat is exactly what you're going to bring to fruition in your life. So common doubts, I might just spend a little touch of time. Do I have 10 minutes still? I just want to make sure I don't go over time.
You're great. You can keep going.
Just come on if I'm going over. Okay, so some common doubts, I might just touch on a few. Number one, can I do this? And I've already shared with you is that choose to look for reinforcements. Look in your past when you have fixated on something, when you've really wanted something, when you've got so congruent with something and the desire is there, you've found a way to make it happen. Also, if you can see something within me, you can only see it because it's within you. I am a mirror, right? So when you hear people like Emma speak, then use that as validation that if we can do it, you can do it too, okay? So rather than seeing the whole, what do you call it, when you compare comparison, right? Compare in a positive way, right? Rather than allowing that to be your excuse to let yourself off the hook. Another one is I'm not making any money yet, so I don't feel congruent sharing it. Well, guess what? Every single freaking leader on this call started at zero. And that didn't stop Lauren from talking to Linda when she wasn't earning $10,000 a month in this business yet, right? And I'm sure climbing beyond that. I was earning zero in the beginning, but what I had was confidence and belief and conviction in where I was going. People don't join you where you are. They are drawn to your vision and your mission. That is what inspires them, okay? Every vision and mission in life that has been worthy started from ground zero with just one leader, right? And so the more confidence you have in sharing what your vision is and where you're going, people will join you in that journey, and it's more rewarding for them to come along for the ride. Because my story now, if I shared, my income and my lifestyle and everything that I've been able to achieve now, if I was on social media every day sharing that story, that's actually so overwhelming and unbelievable to most people who are starting at ground zero that actually wouldn't serve me and my business. When I started at ground zero, no confidence, shy, just like so nervous to do everything. And, I got my first $300 bonus and what that meant to me as a mum who hadn't earned any income. And I just shared that journey. That's when I was the most powerful in attracting people into my business, sharing vulnerably about what it meant to me and people seeing my life change. Kimberly, a lot of you have seen Kimberly. She's a rising star in Australia, absolutely rocking it. She was drawn to reaching out to me because she saw that change in my life. and she wanted that change in her life too, right? So it's not where you're going that's, you know, you being there that is what is needed to create inspiration. It's just that vision and being vulnerable and sharing that with other people, because people, this space is not for everyone, right? But there are thousands of people who are experiencing the same pain that attracted you into this business. And when you understand what people's core values are and you speak to their values, that's how you become attractive. So many people's values where they're experiencing pain are around not having a loving community to be part of, not feeling like they have a safe space to grow or to be themselves. It might be financial certainty. It might be contribution and wanting to be a part of something bigger than themselves. It might be that they're lacking variety and fun. We hit all of these values at such a high level. So just getting really clear on what it is that your vision is in this space, and then how do you effectively communicate that to your audience so they know what you're offering. So they have reasons for wanting to join and to get excited about your vision and mission and where you're going. Another thing that people get stuck on is, you know, the no's, right? So someone says a no, and that derails them. We need to normalize the no's, right? Stop taking them so seriously, like far out. When did we become so unresilient? Like, it's not about you. Not everyone loves sushi. When my friends, I love chocolate. If my best friend didn't like chocolate, I'd think she's weird. Like, people who don't want to do juice bars, I'm like, wow, you're missing out, right? But I'm not going to go cry about it. Like, I'm the one with the gift. They need me. Your posture is incredibly important in this business. If you don't show up with strong, certain posture, that you know that you are in the best position and you are the gift and they actually need you. And it's a shame for them if they're not ready for this space or it's not aligning for them right now. It's got no reflection on you, right? Keep looking forward, because there are people who are crying out for this, who are crying out for change, for growth, for opportunity, for income, for impact. And you're actually just being selfish. When you don't get up and share this because of some self-suffering story that you've made up about yourself, you are being selfish, because people are missing out on this. And if Lauren and Linda had that BS story that they couldn't do this, or, you know, the 100 people, probably 1,000 people said no to Lauren before Linda said yes. I know for sure 1,000 people at least said no to Linda before I said yes, because I was a 3-year conversation and I watched her go through the challenge of business in those 3 years. Now you look at Linda and she's just this incredible, graceful goddess that we all admire so much. And that's who she's become because of this journey. But she got loads of no's, but I just saw her absolute alignment with her vision and she never got pulled off track. And thank goodness, because I was one of the real neg ferret no's, not just no Linda, like Adam and I actually used to make fun of the juice plus thing, right? And I just think, oh my gosh, how awful. Imagine if I had pulled her off her path. Thank goodness she was so congruent and aligned with her vision and so strong in that mission, right? Because now I can't thank her enough for, like, you know, really just holding faith in that. So get over yourself when it comes to the no's, and also cancels and neutrals. You cancel out of things. Again, you know, get over yourself. There are people waiting for change. Focus on that. So the other thing is consistency, okay? Are you going to be inspired to do the work every day so that you're consistent? Because consistency wins the race, okay? And when you can find your inspiration, and this is where your vision is really important. And, you know, for me, that vision, that was a pain for me. One of the best things you can ever do is write down all the cost to you of not creating success in this space. So the cost to me, which makes me shudder, like if I hadn't have done this, I would be still shy, still introverted, still screaming on the inside. I wouldn't have the, you know, radiant confidence that I feel that I bring to life today. I feel so happy, so joyful, because I'm living in my potential. I'm continually growing and learning and sharing and giving, which is where real joy is exchanged. When we live in, I'm not enough, I'm this, I'm that, we live in suffering, and it disconnects us from service and giving, which is where I think the most love and gratitude lies, in that space. And so I've grown into this beautiful servant leader, and I just can't imagine my life being the way it was. I just cry to think about the person I was before and the limited role model that I was being for my girls, which is one of the greatest catalysts for my change, because I knew that I was modeling to them lack of self-love and lack of self-worth. And how could I grow two girls that believed in themselves when every single day they saw me hate myself? And so there was great cost in that sense. Also, I'm an independent mum, and so the cost of not having freedom, the cost of not being able to, pay my bills with absolute ease, grace, and flow and no stress, so I can actually be present with my girls. I just cannot, there's so many, my sister was in a really bad accident last month, and I got to just jump on a plane. Didn't have to ask anyone, wasn't worried about money, everything aligned. I have a housekeeper and a nanny, and I have everything that I need to function at a high level, to say yes to my highest values, no matter what is going on around me. There is great cost for you not living in your potential. There is great cost to self-sabotaging your financial abundance. I know, and I do feel in America there are a lot of stories around money, and I hope I don't mean this in an offensive way, but it's almost like it's a sin to be abundant. And I actually think it's a sin not to be, because the more you have, the more you have to give. The more financially abundant I am, the more time freedom I have, and the more flexibility and flow I have with the financial means to give, to be generous, to serve, and to show up for my family the way that I need to show up. It's your responsibility to be more and to have more so that you can give more. And it's time to get over those stories. And what you focus on is what you're going to create. And the more you lean into this nonsense that being financially secure and abundant is like you're a bad person or you've ripped someone off, and when it comes to, I want to go into this just quickly, but your belief is so important in this space. And that's one of the number one things that I just implore you to work on, because people are buying your certainty. And so you've got to believe that you have something unique that you're sharing with the world, that the world needs. Because if you don't have a 10 out of 10 in that, then why are people going to buy into you? Secondly, know that you can ask for a high value for the incredible, unique gift that we have. People are buying synthetic supplements off the shelf to boost their immune system. And we know our product is so much better. And money is just an exchange of energy. Our product is incredible. Of course, you're going to get paid for sharing it. You don't get all uncomfortable when you pay for your eggs at the grocery store. So why are you uncomfortable when you have to ask for money for our incredible product? Of course, there's a money exchange. Again, get over yourself. Any job you've ever had in your life, any job is a sales job. Any job. You are a salesperson, no matter what you've done in your life. Own it. Stop making up some story about it, right? We have an amazing product that changes lives, and we can ask for a high value because we're offering high value. Don't feel guilty about that. And, share your success with others, share your abundance with others. That's how you get this beautiful flow of energy and exchange happening in your business. The other thing I would say is, know what your values are and understand how your values will be honored by being in this space. Okay, so I just shared some of my values before and how financial abundance has allowed me to live in alignment with that. If it wasn't for Juice Plus, my kids would be in after school care. I'd be working a job that I probably hated, that would barely cover the rent. I wouldn't have been able to jump on a plane to see my sister because I'd be worried about paying the bills and, making sure that I didn't lose my job. So many of you are living so out of alignment with your values because you keep telling yourself a story that you're not capable or worthy of abundance. And so life is short, and I cannot imagine being told what to do every day. That's my greatest value, is freedom. And I just cannot imagine being told what to do every day. Oh my gosh. No one wants to see me lose my freedom. Trust me, I'm such a rebel. But, know your values and keep aligning with that vision. Why are you going to show up today in your business consistently? Because it aligns with your values to do so. And you might have short-term sacrifice in the beginning. I will admit that there was a good 2 years where, especially my youngest, who wasn't at school yet, watched way more TV than what was remotely aligned in my values. But she now has 2 parents that are fully present, who can say yes to every opportunity. She's in this amazing school now with all these incredible opportunities. We get to be just so fully present. So there was some short-term sacrifice, but we were committed to the vision and values of our future, okay? So what is the cost of procrastination, fear, and doubt, okay? Does it not hurt you more? Don't those things hurt you more than doing the work? Like, I know the work isn't easy, but it's not supposed to be. But you know what is harder? Like the consequence of living in procrastination and fear and doubt, okay? Making progress, that is where the reward is. And that's what you want to focus on, right? Is progress. Just that one step. You don't need to be NMD by the end of the year or the end of the month. What you need to be is moving forward. And showing up on these trainings is you moving forward. You're not stuck as long as you're taking action, okay? So don't be paralyzed, and just know that there is an absolute upside for doing the work. Know that you get to create your identity every single day, and that the only way to fail is for you to quit on yourself. And that is me.
That's what we call a mic drop, I think is what it's called there, right? It was amazing. Cheryl, I'm going to pass it on back to you. I've seen the comments in here, and just, Cheryl, I'm bringing you back. There you go.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Kara. I have watched Kara, I guess it's, as you said, 7 years now. And so since she began, and I've watched her really deal with challenges that would have flattened many people, and she's only grown for them. And I have such admiration for her, and so many people out there that you see their lives totally change because they make that step, and it's not easy. And I just think she's a great example. And thank you so much, Kara. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
And now for the fun surprise of the evening, I think we're going to go to Beth and Tammy, and you're going to draw 4 names for $50 promotion gift card. So how did that happen? I've not seen this done on a virtual event before. We do this all the time in live events, but take it away. Okay, Beth.
Okay, I'll get started and then we'll bring Tammy up. So I'm going to announce, there she is. I'm going to announce 2 names. But what we need you to do, so we need the winners to email, and I'm going to put it in the chat, cortesegroup@aol.com, and you're going to email your full name, your email, and your phone number. And I'll put that in the chat for you. So drum roll. Our first winner, and I got to use the coolest app for the first time. We put all your names in, and then you hit a button and it spins, and then it gives you the winners' names. Very cool, very excited. Okay, first name is Erin Schroeder Kraft. Congratulations. And the second name I have on here is Shelly Simpson. So congratulations to you. I'm going to put names in there. And then
those 2.
Tammy's going to do the others.
Yes, and we have 2 more, and we did check to make sure everybody was still on because it was a must be present to win. So we checked right before the end, and we have 2 more $50 winners. And thank you, Cheryl, for your generosity for these amazing gifts. Sybil Burke. Sybil, you win a prize. Woohoo! And Allison Fitzpatrick, you win our
well, congratulations to all of you. But I think the greatest blessing, of course, I mean, this was fun, but the greatest blessing is all the information that's come to us, the people who've shared, the time together. Just a blessing to have all of you here, to work alongside you, especially at a time like this. You know, these events always give me a lift, and hopefully they do you as well. It's always great to see all of your faces and to see you here really committed to your own excellence and to your own future. And obviously, success in your future means success for somebody else, because you can't do it by yourself. You can only do it by helping and empowering others. And that's the great joy of it. We're going to gather again, so I'm going to encourage you to not only really work at gathering and building a new team, but having them at our next event, which will be May 18th. So that'll be our next Take Action Tuesday. And that's a wrap, folks, and really appreciate you all. Have a great evening.